Kiss me, baby, on an Easter Sunday. Well, a Saturday, anyway. Good afternoon and welcome to Joe Walton Stadium. Women's lacrosse today on the Colonial Sports Network. Robert Morris versus Youngstown State. The Penguins coming into this game in a position where Robert Morris was 16 years ago. Their fledgling season as a D1 program at 1-3 in their first year. Meanwhile, the Colonials 7-2. 3-0 against the MAC, fresh off an important win against Central Michigan, who's in second place, a game in which the Gandy twins, Melanie Mackenzie, had 4 goals apiece to pilot the victory. Hello, everybody. I am Tim Benz from the men's RMU hockey play-by-play team today in for Garo Von Dane. A mere 25 years since my last lacrosse play-by-play endeavor, but hey, when the ranks are stretched thin, the more you can do, as Chuck Knoll may have said around these parts. And speaking of the ranks being thin, that's the case for these Youngstown State Penguins, who won't likely be playing much more than their starting lineup. Just a few reserves spotting in off the bench. And this is a team, even when the roster is full, that has just one senior. That's the grad student goalie, Erica Wells. They also have one redshirt freshman, Emma Carter. Aside from that, all true freshmen in this program. Lauren Ottensmeyer, number 13, the leading scorer with 8 goals and 10 total points. Not the case for RMU, an experienced back five with grad students and seniors across the line, and the Gandy twins out front on the attack. Mackenzie Gandy leading the way with 34 points and 25 goals, just needing one today to tie the all-time record in program history set by Jen Collins. Already has the points total all-time in program history. Fine game last time out from Kelly Flynn as well on attack. She had 3 goals to kind of seal the deal and put Robert Morris over the top in that win over Central Michigan. Starting lineup as usual for RMU. Caitlin Miller in goal. Then it's McCardle, Griffin, and Colgrove with Burke, Kerr, Bell, and Tift, the 2 Gandys. And then Flynn and Anderson out front for Katrina Silver, the head coach for the Colonials. And in red for the Youngstown State Penguins, Vaudry, Yesko, Taylor Jones, and Emma Carter. That's their attack. Ottensmeyer, Jordan Miller, and Aaron Clark will be the midfield. And then on defense, Jocelyn Fike, Piper Mullins, Tristan Chang, and Eris Lindsay on defense, with Erica Wells, the lone grad student, in net for Youngstown State, a 5'6" transfer from Randolph-Macon in Georgia. And we're ready for the opening draw with the Colonials going from left to right in gray, and the Youngstown State Penguins in their usual red uniforms adopted along with the rest of the Penguins athletic department. And we're underway here at Joe Walton Stadium. On the attack right away, a shot and a save by the goaltender Erica Wells, and they try to get a clear out to Miller. Keep an eye on her, the big midfielder and attack swing player for the Youngstown State Penguins. 6'1", 6 goals, 1 assist. They tend to run a diamond and 3 offense to the Penguins, and they love to try to get Miller posting up and creating havoc going across the middle of that diamond, and they try to hit her in some space and give a tough time to opposing defensive back lines. And she is a physical force to be reckoned with. But a turnover by the Youngstown State Penguins, and it goes into the cross of Mackenzie Gandy. They'll work over to the high side of your screen. Now a pass in front, shot. That one goes wide. Good luck, but it goes out the back of the end zone as the Colonials tried to set up in front to Kelly Flynn to pick up the momentum that she left off with in that last game against Central Michigan. Working out high to Tift. Tries a dodge move, trying to get around Lindsay. Now pulls it outside of the 8 and get an interference penalty. And for the first time today, an indirect free position shot for Tift. She runs in, takes the shot. Another save by Erica Wells as the goalie sharp so far for Youngstown State. Their coach, Teresa Walton, praising her to no end for the leadership that she has shown with all the other freshmen. Not only that, but her play in net as well. Really thinks that for the most part, Youngstown has benefited by her making big saves when she has to. As that one gets by her, though, shot high and a score for Cleo Kerr, all by herself in front, and it's 1-0 RMU. Drop it like it's hot. Colonials take the lead. But to finish the thought on Alicia Wells, the goalie for Youngstown She's seen a lot of pressure, seen a lot of shots, and has had a lot of free and open space, but has made the most of it and kept Youngstown close in a lot of games. They're out to a 1-3 start, as we talked about before, beating Detroit Mercy for their lone victory so far this year. And so far have played against Central Michigan, Kent, and Akron as well in the MAC. Losing to Central Michigan 17-4, Kent 19-10, Akron 12-11, and beating Mercy 12-7 so far in their fledgling season. As we get the draw at the center logo here at Joe Walton Stadium. And it's worked free and comes over towards the Youngstown State sideline, kicked out of bounds, and it'll stay in possession of the Penguins, and we'll see them set up on the attack for the first time today. Primarily possession in favor of the Colonials so far. Erin Clark will trigger in. Very high on her, this program is. It's knocked out of her cross, though, efficiently by the Colonials defense. It'll turn back the other way. This is the kind of game that RMU wants to get into, tire out these midfielders without many reserves ready to be brought in by Youngstown. They'll run on all day if they have to. Clark, a 5'3" freshman from Montrose, New York, doesn't do a ton that shows up on the score sheet, but they really like her all-around game. Working outside the perimeter of the 8, trying to free herself up for a shot, which goes wide. That's Kelly Nelson, and it goes out beyond the goalpost and towards the soccer cages. Back up for Robert Morris. Melanie Gandy triggers in. Give right back to Melanie. She's behind the net, outside the circle. Now a handoff, pump fake move, brought back down by Colleen Tift. Mackenzie Gandy has it knocked away, gets it back, makes a move on net, pass in front, shot deflected, bouncing around outside the circle, trying to scoop it up, and eventually Youngstown State comes away with it. Erin Clark able to pick up the ground ball. Gets to Piper Mullins. She's double teamed though, and the ball will stay in possession of the Penguins. Now Alicia Wells. Outlet pass. Hits Jordan Miller. Her long strides. Pass though intercepted by the Colonials. Back the other way they come. RMU on the rush. Pass over to the far side of the field. Trying to make a move. Pump fake shot. That one goes off the pipe. Oh, Melanie Gandy ticketed it for the upper third of the net, but just got it off the left pipe. And that leaves lots of room to roam for Eris Lindsay. She comes all the way down to the attack zone. Stops, bounces it, gets it knocked out. We'll get a yellow card here against Robert Morris. That was an issue for Colleen Tift. Last time out for RMU, she got two quickly and couldn't play the rest of the game. So Lindsay with one goal in the season comes up short on the free position shot, and here come the Colonials. Coming out towards midfield. And eventually ridden out of bounds was Isabella Robarge. She throws in from the sideline though. And the Colonials have second unit out there for some midfielders. We're going to see three separate lines of three today for RMU, according to Katrina Silver, the head coach. Now up top, Miller runs out of space. Patient and deliberate. Colonials with a 1-0 lead. Had a couple good looks, but just one goal so far, and another yellow card, this one going against the Penguins. Based on the reaction, I think that one went against Shannon Cullen. We're in number 6. Now a free position shot for Flynn, and she lost it on the way in. Good play by Lindsay to creep up from behind. Has three Colonials in her face, works it back to the goaltender, Alicia Wells. Now Wells lofts one deep. Good pass in stride, and that triggers the breakout for the Penguins. Coming up towards the outer arc. That one's lost, bounced, bobbled around, and contact penalty coming up against RMU as one of the Penguins players fell to the turf. It was Emma Carter. Got clonked up high. Now the official's talking about it. Not sure if they're signaling for a restart. Now they're going to turn the possession back over to RMU. Now they're setting a legal pick there or something, but it looked like there was contact to the head of Emma Carter. Or maybe called a penalty before that, and that's what they were trying to figure out between the two officials. At any rate, possession goes over to the Colonials. Robarge had possession last time down the field for Robert Morris. Finding space, now pulls up the 25. Goal line extended. RMU being diligent again with this possession on offense. Flynn right in front of us. Slings it up high. Substituting into the play is Mackenzie Bell. She joins the attack. Pass in front, shot goes off the pipe again. Second time the Colonials have almost ticketed an upper corner, but they hit the far side post and it comes back out to Youngstown State. They're all over Miller. She bounces a pass, and good work there by the midfield and attack of Robert Morris. As Coach Silva told us, the biggest thing she asked of her attack besides scoring goals is get the ball back. You want to score goals, you don't want to play defense, well then get the ball back before it goes across the midfield line, before it gets across the restraining lines, and then you get a chance to score again. They ask a lot of their attack, a lot of their midfielders in that regard. Both teams will play a lot of zone defense today. That's expected from both coaching staffs. Now Aaron Clark passes up high, top of your screen. Defense applied here by Tift. Now a shot gets deflected, stays in the cross of Youngstown State. It's Yesko. She'll pass it up top. Ottensmeyer, leading scorer, trying to get a shot off. Can't get through a double team. It looks like Ottensmeyer is going to get herself a free position. First test here, potentially from Miller. Ottensmeyer looking for her 9th goal of the year for Youngstown State. She makes the charge, shot and a score. Evened up at 1 apiece, and the free position is cashed in by the Penguins. Starts very important to this Penguins team, according to Teresa Walton. Talked about how much of a difference that was for Youngstown State in their first game against, the first win I should say, against Detroit Mercy. It was all about how well they played early on in that contest and kind of rode momentum, although she has been impressed based on the fact that this is entirely a roster made up of freshmen. Has been impressed with the way that this team has managed to bounce back from tough situations. Sure, there's a lot of freshman mistakes, but they've done a really nice job of managing to put those plays behind them and then turn around and make a positive on the next possession or the next defensive sequence, which is encouraging for a team that's trying to build, as Robert Morris did 16 years ago. Now the draw at midfield. Being very precise here is some pushing and shoving on the far side. Not sure if that's in our camera range or not, but on the attack 40 for Robert Morris, jockeying for position. Ball pops up in the air, and it's going to go over to Youngstown. They get right up to speed on the attack. On the ride, it's Burke. Now Burke's told to back off. Ottensmeyer looking for another score. She goes wide around the outer arc. Runs into the fan, now pulls it back. Bounce pass comes over to Clark, and a violation against RMU. Pass goes just outside the 8. Now with a little room to run. Pump fake from Yesko, and she loses control. Probably did a little too much with that one, and it goes back over to RMU. And they got a free space violation here. And they turn and look at the press box to stop the clock and stop the action and reset. RMU set to trigger in at its own 40. Burke comes down the sidelines with speed. Gains the attack 20. Players change out behind the action. Kelly comes into the game right now for Robert Morris. Flynn back in as well for Robert Morris. Also checking in Christian Bailey. Goal and 3 assists on the season for her. Drew some praise from Silva as we were speaking earlier this week on the phone. Stutter step move, now pulled back by Kelly. Long pass across from Mackenzie Gandy. And a whistle on the attack from Kelly. And it looked like she had a free lane there. I was kind of upset that she wasn't able to pull the trigger on that shot, but she gets a free position anyway. Kelly right up top. This is where Ottensmeyer had her opportunity earlier for Youngstown. Now Kelly takes the shot and goes 5-hole and scores. March me down to the 7 C's. It's 2-1 Colonials out in front as Kelly gets her 6th goal and 6th point of the season. The freshman from Cincinnati scores again. Perfectly placed. And the Colonials take advantage just like Youngstown did previously. 21:33 remaining in the first half. Colonials have had a lot more possession time than Youngstown, although the Penguins seem to have found a little bit more rhythm, I'd say, in their last 2 trips down offensively. Substitutions abound here for the Colonials. Kelly comes out. Also checking out of the game is Christensen. A junior attack from Ellicott City. Now on the draw. Almost caught out of the air by Tift. So it's free. Ground ball picked up by Youngstown. Bounce pass comes over, knocked away. Colonials have the advantage. Back the other way. It's in the stick of Cleo Kerr. She's easy to pick out with the dyed hair. Kerr on a direct line pass. Oh, just too high. Good eyes, though. Kerr with the speed gave up the pass. Never stopped momentum, made the break towards the cage. And I think it was Melanie Gandy on the far side who read it the whole way, but just threw it too high over the outstretched hands of Cleo Kerr. Alicia Wells, the goaltender, looking things over. Now gives it up high, and patient attack from the Penguins, but now it's turned over, and Flynn has it. She's bumped into, and that will allow the Penguins to set up on D, and also the Colonials to set up on offense, though. Clean pass from McCardle, comes out to Kerr. 15 goals and 4 assists on the season for her. From the X, pass in front. That goes wide. Good look as Zolis tried to go to the lower right corner of the cage, but just missed outside the ankle of the goaltender. Colonials maintain possession. Working around from the end zone, now back up high. Low to high game for RMU. Kerr has it, surveys, makes a dodge, tries a bounce shot. That one goes way over the crossbar. Easily corralled, though, by the Colonials. And a free space violation here against Youngstown State. They pass in. Kelly Flynn loops through. Now a spin move, shot and score! Cleo Kerr using the body, rolling, shooting high and scoring, and the Colonials make it 3-1. Bury me with a ruby ring. It's the 16th goal so far this season for Kerr. One more look. You can see her using the defender to her advantage. And going up high as she posted up, and Hannon Cullen had no answer as Kerr was able to beat the goaltender into the upper corner, and the Colonials starting to get some rhythm here. With 19:24 left to go in the first. Get you up to date on some stats as they start to come through. As we broadcast here in advance of Easter Sunday from Joe Walton Stadium. Colonials fresh off their 12-7 victory against Central Michigan, and it's entirely possible that those two will battle it out in the round robin and the chance for RMU to get an NCAA tournament berth in its first year in the MAC. New team coming in next year is going to be Eastern Michigan. Working out from the X. Cradling, it's Flynn. Now on the move, pulling it back. Bouncing off the shaft of the stick. It's picked back up by RMU. It's Bailey Christensen. Came back into the game. Now RMU working a little clock as the Colonials look things over on the defense for Youngstown. Start and stop move from Nelson. Just outside the 8. And there's a violation against Youngstown State. So Nelson will have her opportunity. The junior from Rochester, New York. Decides to shoot, save. Good play there again from Wells. That's the third unobstructed opportunity that she's made a save on so far today, and this could be a 6-1 game if it weren't for her being sharp so far. Can't really fault her for any of the goals that have gotten by either. They've all been pretty good looks. Jocelyn Fike for Youngstown. Trying to elude a stick check. Lost the ball, got it back. Sticky defense from RMU. And that's Mackenzie Gandy. Walton didn't like that, barking at the officials. Turnover, though, from Robert Morris. Oh, but it was lost immediately by the Penguins. Eris Lindsay had it, then lost it. And now the officials trying to work something out here between the two of them along the sideline. And there's going to be a yellow card assessed. I take that back as a green card that's assessed. Yeah, this is going back to that previous exchange right in front of the Youngstown State bench, and now Gandy has to serve in the box. I thought it was a contact penalty at first, and then it was overruled on the backside from the official, who is now telling Gandy she's going to get a yellow card too. I don't know if this is an infraction after the whistle for complaining about it. But Gandy has to sit and Yesko has to sit. So two players in the box right now, one each. It's going to be Yesko sitting for Youngstown and Mackenzie Gandy sitting for the Colonials. And Silva getting an explanation. Yesko getting an explanation or instructions from her coaching staff. And we'll try to get the official as it comes in here. No communication for us down to the field, so we'll do our best when we can. But obviously a disagreement on what the two officials saw, as it took a little while for that one to get worked out. Anyway, it's turned over to Robert Morris as they have it in their possession. Now the attack is pulled back, and Eris Lindsay comes off the field for Youngstown. It was a stick check, so Lindsay comes out. And now the Colonials will set up in the offensive end. Lindsay has to go and sit down as well. Offensive zone set up for Gianna Anthony, who had a goal last time out. Her first as a Colonial. Passes in front, the Colonials pull it back. Outside of the 8, it's a free space violation here for RMU. Pass goes over the cross of Gandy, who came in too hot in the feed, went off the top of her stick, but the Colonials get it back anyway. Anthony runs out of room. Now she decides to go on the assault anyway and scores. Oh, good move there from Gianna Anthony. Ran out of space, recalibrated, redirected, scores. It's 4-1 Colonials. They cash in on the man-up opportunity. Make my haze blow away. Gianna Anthony, 2 goals in as many games. Went 5-hole on the bounce shot, and RMU is out in front by 3. Anthony comes off the field, and Anthony registering for 2 straight games now, the freshman from Christian Brothers Academy in Syracuse, New York, not far from where Teresa Walton grew up, in Nottingham High School. That's where she went before heading off to Canisius, where she was a 2-time All-MAAC player for the Golden Griffins as they won 2 championships in that conference. And we'll take a break. 4-1 the score, 16:58 left to go as the Colonials lead by 3 here at Joe Walton Stadium. Welcome back, 4-1 the score, 16:58 remaining in the first for RMU, out in front by 3. Katrina Silver's team out to a good start. Gandy still serving time in the box for Robert Morris as she has yet to score today. Still looking for her first goal of the afternoon, which would tie her for the all-time program lead with Jen Collins. We'll keep you up to date on that. Getting ready to check in, it appears. The next possible opportunity for Robert Morris is Christensen. She stands behind the coaches. Youngstown State coming back out. Can't say enough so far about Wells in net. She's been real good, challenging quite a few shots for the Colonials. This could be a 6-goal differential if it weren't for her play, especially at the start of the game. We're in the Paul Coffey 77 there in net for the Youngstown State Penguins. And we have seen Coach Silva come through on her word, which was to use the depth and play especially a lot of midfielders. And why wouldn't you with a team that doesn't have a lot of depth, doesn't have a lot of experience in Youngstown State? As I peruse the sideline right now, it looks like maybe just 1 or 2 other players in uniform with sticks in their hands, and they're wearing the parkas right now for Youngstown. Still a cool day here in Pittsburgh. Very cold and snowy yesterday. It's warmed up a bit, but Still pretty frosty out there as we get ready for Easter Sunday. Long pass is misconnected and goes back over to Youngstown by Yesko. But boy, the Colonials have done a good job just staying with nonstop these Youngstown State Penguins. As soon as they get possession, they've worked hard to get it back, and that's been a preaching point for Coach Silva. But I think they're saying here that RMU has to take it back to the 40, and they will re-trigger back in. This is Kelly. Top of the fan, now gets it down deep to Flynn. She starts a charge from behind at the X, and now we'll have to start again from the Owen Colonials right now in the football end zone. Football playing today for Robert Morris. Men's team in action as well. We'll get you up to date on those scores when we get a chance. And you see a pretty easy setup here in the zone for Youngstown State. 48 seconds on the shot clock, and they don't need the rest of it. That's a goal for Robert Morris. Madison Burke pounds it in. The Colonials go in front 5-1. RMU in command early on here as we take another look. Actually, that score registered by Hannah Miller, the senior midfielder. So Hannah Miller gets credit for that goal, and for Miller, that's her 4th goal of the season as the Colonials now in front 5-1. Colonials don't mind winding as much clock as they have. They're getting the good looks that they are, and I think they might have got a little frazzled in the first possession or two when they got those looks and either hit the pipe or Wells made a big save. We should mention that too. They've hit the cage twice already, have the Colonials, so making the most of their opportunities now, though. And they're getting scoring from all areas. Neither of the Gandys yet to register a point. See Cleo Kerr using the offhand to try to ward away a defender. And got a free space violation here on the move in from Mackenzie Bell, the freshman from Maryland. Bell sets up just off the corner from the 8. Outside the hash at about the 9-yard line. She got it ripped away from behind, goes into the goalie stick of Alicia Wells, and she'll throw it deep and hits Eris Lindsay from Silver Spring, Maryland. A lot of Maryland talent as usual on both rosters. Good move by Lindsay to get around a double team, still in her possession. Runs past 2 Colonial defenders. Completes a pass here to Ottensmeyer. Pump fake, pulls up, runs into 2 defenders, loses it. Now a ground ball. Ottensmeyer able to pick it back up again. Long pass, middle part of the field between the hashes. And that's Yesko trying to get towards the cage, but she's cut off, and now we'll set up for a free position. Right at the 15-yard line on the outer arc of the fan. And then it's knocked away, but it's going to be a violation on Kelly Colgrove. So Yesko will just do it again. Now spins between 3 RMU defenders. Working it back out. Shot clock down to 45 for Youngstown State. And that's going to be a yellow card as one of the Youngstown State Penguins was hit in the head. I think that was Carter, who worked out from the corner. Actually just a foul, so Carter will try for the free space against Miller. She runs in, shot, and it's deflected by Miller, got a piece of it, went in the end zone. And there's going to be a pushing violation against RMU. We'll take another look here. Good move by Carter, maybe one move too many as she got close to the crease. Another chance. That one bounces, hits the pipe, comes back out again to Lindsay. She tries to scoop it up. The ball is stepped on. Still free. A host of players from both teams. Squirts out, picked up by Youngstown, lost by Youngstown. It's still rolling free. Shea McCardle all over this. And it stays in possession of the Penguins. Ottensmeyer, quick pass, but misses the intended target, rolls through the end zone, and that will turn over to RMU. So, a couple of free position shots for the Penguins, and they can't do anything with it. Long pass intercepted by Lindsay. She read that one nicely, dribbles it to herself. Picks it up, room to roam, backing off one of the defenders. Runs into a cross-check, spin, Lindsay doesn't have it. Stops behind the crease. She circles back to the offside now. Ottensmeyer will reset at the center point. Watched closely by Mackenzie Bell. Tries to force her high. Bouncing puck, finally able to be corralled by Yesko. Now Yesko all over her is Tift and got a little too close. And trying to get the Colonials to back off as Yesko triggers in. Ottensmeyer feeds into the slot area, and now it rolls free, and there's going to be a violation against RMU again. Only goal thus far came from a Ottensmeyer shot for the Penguins. The dangerous Jordan Miller has it right now. She's a real good shooter. Instead decides to pass, though, from the tough angle. Haven't been able to find her too often. That was the game plan. That was the book, as Lindsay runs out of space, and that's actually going to be a turnover. They're saying Lindsay ducked into it. She's saying she was pushed down, and now the officials are going to talk about it. We'll look at it again. This is the second time we've had some disagreement from the officials over a call. And I don't know if they're trying to say that Lindsay charged by lowering the shoulder into the Robert Morris defender, or what the case was, but one official saw it one way, another saw it the other, and the initial call will stand as RMU will get the ball back. The point I was trying to get out earlier is Miller, very dangerous player as they post up and run that sort of diamond in three, but we haven't seen a lot of clean looks. We haven't seen her creating the chaos that Katrina Silver was expecting. And they've decided to bring the ball back again. So this is the second time we've seen the officials completely reverse course on a decision. In both cases, they've gone against RMU, and you can see the agitation from Silva as a result. She walks back towards the penalty box area, sort of in disgust, as RMU now will have to reset their approach on defense. All that work to get us to 12:53, still a 4-goal margin here for RMU, and it's turned right back over anyway to the Colonials. So, all that for naught. Now with a lot of speed, here comes Cleo Kerr with long strides. Throws it back at the 35. Kerr comes off the field, gave it to Tift. Tift, oh, good feed in front, shot and score! Second time in as many possessions for the freshman, Gianna Anthony, who continues to impress. Can you make this thing go faster? Gianna Anthony and the Colonials out in front by 5. Take another look as Anthony gets the pretty feed and beats the goaltender Wells to the left side high. And the Colonials continue to maintain a steady, solid offensive attack and a 5-goal margin right now with 12:33 left to go in the first. Anthony, one of the many young players that Coach Silva talked about in our phone conversation this week, that as she outlined during a COVID era, it's awfully tough to do a lot of leading by example if you're an upperclassman, but the upperclassmen have done it anyway on this team. There's just not as much interaction, not as much downtime for the players to talk and sort of discuss how to grow up within a program, but she praised the freshmen for figuring it out. Anthony, one of those, and she praised the upperclassmen, the 8 of 9 eligibles that came back for RMU, for managing to figure out ways to do this in this odd environment in 2021. Hopefully get back to normal. Some things here in Pittsburgh and state of Pennsylvania starting to change. on Sunday, especially when it comes to bars and restaurants. And another pass in front and another score. There's a Hattie. Oh my, it's a feast for fools right now for the Colonials as Anthony makes it 7-1. She is rolling sevens again, and the Colonials up by 6. And with so many upperclassmen getting set to leave this program, you know that Coach Silva has to like what she's seeing here from youngsters like Anthony filling the net, and what that means for the next wave of talent coming through the Colonials system as they will reach their second, third, fourth season in the MAC, while players like Anthony are here. And boy, coming off of last season, they really thought 2020 was their year. But as Coach Silva told us, a little disappointing, a little disheartening for all those kids that's, on that NEC team. They thought they were going to win the NEC last year. They thought they were that good. Things change as they come to the MAC, and so far off to a 7-2 start. Maybe they can get into the NCAA tournament that way by virtue of the regular season round robin that crowns a champion in the MAC. There's going to be no tournament this year. As mentioned, adding the Eastern Michigan team next year, Youngstown State in its first. And it's funny to hear Coach Silva talk about how they felt like the grandparents of the MAC right now with 16 years under their belt. And it's good to see that various conferences expanding their programs, and all the shuffling that went around for Robert Morris find themselves here and in an advantageous position thus far in 2021. Gandy works outside the fan, passing in front to her sister. Bounce shot. I think the goaltender got a piece of that. Comes right back to Melanie Gandy. Pass goes awry, and it bounces over to Youngstown State. Penguins with 11:13 left, down by 6. Need some offensive pushback here. And a timeout called for as the Colonials have momentum. 11:07 left to go in the first. Colonials up by 6 in the Colonial Sports Network. Teresa Walton, the head coach of Youngstown State, put forth their agenda of making sure they put as much attention as possible on the Gandy twins, and that's worked out so far. They've been quiet, but it's been the other players for Robert Morris that have tallied up the points. Kerr with a goal so far. Also saw 3 this far from the freshman Anthony. Great game so far by her. Also a goal tacked up already for RMU by Hannah Miller. So the Colonials off to a good start when it comes to spreading the wealth as Youngstown comes into the offensive end. Lindsay's had the ball in her cross quite a bit, but loses it. Now gets it back. And the Colonials will change out some troops behind the play as we speak. Dodging around, Youngstown State trying to make a move towards the goal. And it'll be a violation against RMU on the high side of the field. 2 players checking in for RMU. Looking up, it's Cleo Kerr and Colleen Tift. Called their names quite a bit so far today as they've been involved in the action. See some wind picking up down the field in Joe Walton Stadium. And that shot goes high over the crossbar, and it's picked off in the end zone. Ooh, and now one of the RMU players is driven down to the turf. That was a heavy cross check applied by Youngstown. We'll take another look. After the free position shot went high, intercepted cleanly by RMU, and trying to break it out was Madison Burke, and she got drilled and then run over as well as the collision happened right next to the net of Caitlin Miller. Everybody seems to be okay. Burke gets up, stays in the game, and will run out with the ball herself. Coming out to the 45-yard line, passes the rest of the way, and it's picked up there. And that is knocked away. Bell had it. And now Mackenzie Gandy, she makes a move, shot and a score. Ooh, tough angle. She picked the high corner on the far side. So much for her being quiet, and that ties the record. Mackenzie Gandy on the board to make it 8-1, and she's tied the program mark for goals. Already got her 127th last time out, 128 with this, and she sets the new mark with the next goal that she gets. That was a goal scorer's snipe right there. Gandy at full speed, goes across her body, goes across the face of the goaltender, goes up high and snipes it. Well, congratulations to her for tying the record. Set by Jen Collins. And as the 26th of the year for Mackenzie Gandy. Coach Silva talking about she's not going to know what to do when she doesn't have twins to coach anymore, particularly those two, she says has twin epathy, or twin lepathy, I think is how she said it, with the way that they interact. And a stumble as the Colonials tried to complete a pass up high, but there was a push, it appeared, underneath the play anyway. That was going to go against Lindsay. Now they talk about it again and decide to give it back over to the Penguins. So that's the third time we've seen one of those. Now Youngstown State connects with a pass at the 50. Ottensmeyer uses her high reach, stretching out the stick, unable to get there. And then it's turned over by Ottensmeyer, but then a free space violation. You saw the effort perhaps from Emily Kim to try to stretch the stick out and run in position from Ottensmeyer, but her stride's too long and her length too much. She tries a spin move to free herself up. Ooh, pretty shot, pretty score. Spikes the stick, and it's 8-2. Ottensmeyer with her second and her 10th on the season. Good answer there from the Penguins. They haven't had many of those as we watch it again. Look at the juke move, the turn, the shot, and she beats the goaltender down low, Miller. Can't say much more about that effort as Ottensmeyer continues to lead the way for the Penguins. Shooting percentage of 34.8 coming into the season. Tallies up 2 more, and she's definitely been the most impressive Penguin so far today. And one thing that you'll see, and we've noticed a little of this so far in the broadcast, is how Coach Walton will try to buy time, if you will, for these starters who play pretty much the whole game for Youngstown State. Like, you'll see attack go back on D, you'll see middies go to attack and go to D to get some breathing time, if you will, just so they can catch their breath and, you know, almost substitute without substituting and just catch moments whenever they can. Colonials press up, and now a whistle stops play, as just checking into the game to try to join the rush was Julia Cottervas, the sophomore from Hagerstown. You see her right in the middle of the 8. Now Gandy looking to set the program record. Gandy has it at the 20. Let's see if she can do it here. Passes instead into a wall of bodies. It rolls towards the goaltender, and now it's going to be picked up outside of the 8. Actually, now free position coming up here for Kathleen Kelly. Looking for her second. Now Kelly ducks in, shot, and a score. Got her head low, kept her hands high, and was able to beat the goaltender with the outstretched goalie stick, went right over top of it, and the Colonials now in front by 7 again. It's 9-2. Kiss the sun and fight the fire. Oh, that was a pretty looking run and charge in on the free position chance, and Kelly makes the most of it. So for Kelly, that's her second today and 7th in 2021. .838 left to go in the first half. The Colonials have been in control pretty much throughout. Kept an even keel and had a couple things go awry on the offensive end where maybe they felt like they deserved more. Never really lost focus along the way. Draw is fought for, bounced around, and scooped up by Aaron Clark. Trying to run away from 3 RMU defenders. Penguins trying to stretch the field out, give some space. Clark running around and now is finally able to pass to advance the ball. They'll go horizontally across the field, will the Penguins. Turning shot, Ottensmeyer had it, lost it, tripped up, falls down, and they got in her way, got into the bubble, and Youngstown will keep possession of the offensive end. Now Ottensmeyer, a magnet. And she's drawn all sorts of gray shirts around her every time she has the ball, and that should be the case with the way she's performed thus far, and we'll see what she can do with this chance. With 8:07 left. Ottensmeyer with right foot back, moves in, shot, score again. There's the Hattie for her. She's got all 3 on the board right now for Youngstown, and it's been a one-woman show for the Penguins. See the substitutions coming in for RMU. Melanie Gandy coming back in. Jordan Anderson returns onto the field as well. Lindsay makes the long run back for Youngstown as he took another look at Ottensmeyer's 3rd goal so far in this game. Three Colonials come out now as substitutions are finished off. Kerr exiting the game. Also leaving Tift, and look like Mackenzie Bell, the freshman, checks out too. Strong move to rip the draw free by Anderson. She'll go back and get it herself. She's checked from behind to the shoulder. But a violation turns it back over to Youngstown. Quick pass in as everybody gets set. The midfielders and defense sort of straighten things out for the Penguins right along the restraining line. A couple Colonials come out of the game. Entering right now is Isabella Robarge. She'll check in, as will Hannah Miller, with 1 on the day so far. 9-3 the score, 7:21 remaining. RMU sticking close on defense. And it'll be a free space violation there, as trying to make a move to the cage was Abby Yesko. Tried to serve some time in the box earlier. 2 of these accounted so far for goals of the 3 for Youngstown. Bounce shot deflected high in the air. Good reflexes by the goaltender Miller. Now one of the Penguins is decked to the turf. And they'll straighten out possession. Take one more look at this. On the free position bounce shot. It looked like hit the glove maybe, or just the top, the knob of the stick. I don't know if that's like the Marc-Andre Fleury knob save that we saw against Washington or what, but Kaylin Miller doing a good job taking up as much net as she could and using the stick to her advantage. I think it actually hit her glove and went up high. Now running out of room on the breakout. Colonials make a subtle pass to get out. Credit Zolis on that opportunity. She makes the most of her time, comes out of the game. Now Colonials are going to get that record-setting goal for Mackenzie Gandy potentially, but they turn it over. Long pass out towards midfield. It's loose, bouncing around at the 40-yard line. Ground ball picked up by RMU. Colgrove, and she's warded out of bounds, trying to get away from two different Penguins. And Colonials will maintain possession. They keep the ball alive here. Melanie Gandy makes a pass. Now it goes up top on the high side of your screen. RMU will work down in the feeder position behind the goal. It was lost momentarily, but RMU gets it back. Loose ball going through the 8, now picked up. And Miller tries to keep the stick high where nobody can get it with her 6'1" wingspan. Decides to give it back to the goaltender, Wells. Wells uncorks a pass and hits the intended target for Youngstown as they come across midfield. It's Fike who takes it the distance, had it and tried to get a shot off, but she got bumped as the long run from Fike will wind up setting up for a free position shot. Colonials have given up quite a few of these so far to Youngstown. That's been the bulk of their offensive pressure. Maybe not the dynamic scores yet, aside from Ottensmeyer, who's made the most of her chances. So Colonials can kind of get away with it. But on the free position, Fike is taken down again as she made a run to the cage. One more look. Fike trying to get between Madison Griffin and Kathleen Kelly. She'll get to do it again from dead-on center spot. She cradles, loads up, and is ready to go. Decides to make the rush again, gets the goalie out of the net and scores. So on the second reboot, Fike makes the most of it. And Youngstown State back within 5. And check it out again as Fike able to keep the cradle high, actually got bumped. Managed to hold on to it. Colgrove got a good piece. But strong move from Fike, and she's able to get herself a third goal in this 2021 campaign and her first of the day. First player besides Ottensmeyer to score so far for Youngstown. Good stick taps from goaltender and the rest of the defense, fellow middies, and now Youngstown will set up with 4 back. And a draw will take place right in the Colonial Head logo here at Joe Walton Stadium. We come down to 5:11 left to go in the first. Pops in the air, Youngstown State has it. Working on the near side and, bonked in the head. That was Carter who tried to duck under one of the Colonials and got one right in the mush. And that's going to be a yellow card assessed. So RMU on the man down is sitting down is Colleen Tift. She got 2 last time out as well. Carter from the 20 runs in. Passes goal line extended. Carter wants it back. They try to hit her, but she's taken down in the attempt to catch it and couldn't catch it cleanly, and it goes back over to the Colonials. 4:46 remaining and RMU up by 5. Feels like it could be more. Seen a couple answers here from the Penguins to keep the game close, keep it within shouting distance. Pass is picked up by McCardle. She's got a free run. Now she pulls it back. Gives it over to Gandy. Had it, lost it. Now into the end zone, where Flynn will work. Giving it back to Gandy. She works outside the circle. Passes incomplete and picked up there by Lindsay, who's been all over the field for Youngstown. Keep an eye on Gandy, looking to set the record. She's got it. 36 seconds in the shot clock right now for RMU. They kind of picked up the pace in the offensive possessions as this half went along. Now they go back to some of the patient, diligent work that we saw early in the game. Behind the net. Colonials work it out high. Outside the 8. Long possession for Nelson. Shot comes in and it's saved by the goaltender Wells, and consider that a positive defensive possession for the Penguins. Long looping pass goes over the outstretched arms of Lindsay. And a loose ball as the Colonials will set up on defense. Tiff's still down right now for Robert Morris. Now it goes out of bounds where the Penguins have it. They'll keep play alive, actually. 3:02 remaining. Ottensmeyer looking for her 4th. Coxett pulls it down, tries to get an angle. Ottensmeyer shoots, bounces, goes over the crossbar. Kept alive in the end zone by Youngstown. Tossing it out high, back to even strength. Clark ran out of space. Now decides to reload the offense. Clean catch by Yesko. Lost it, knocked around to the air for a while, and eventually Yesko is decked down to the turf, but turns over to RMU. We got 2:26 left to go. And a fresh shot clock. Here's Gandy. Gets away from Lindsay. She's got space. She's got a look. Had it knocked away, though, as she tried to make a move towards the cage, and you can see her sort of toss her head in disgust. Thought that might have been the moment here, and it's going to be a violation against RMU, and possession goes back over to the Penguins. Here's the goalie, Alicia Wells. That pass caught at the 40, and here come the Penguins. Looking towards the middle of the field, tried to hit Yesko, but it's turned back over to RMU. Now the Colonials will counter. Trying to stretch things horizontally across the field. Looking to complete a pass, and they do, to Anderson. On the hippity hop, Anderson tries a stutter step move. Now she's ridden through the end zone. And that'll be a free space violation. The Colonials will start from there. Saw Anderson kind of go for the running back in the open field move there. Picked up the leg and tried to bait the defender. Clean move to the cage is cut off as Flynn had an alley. Now she'll set up on roughly the 8-yard line. A good clean look at the goaltender. Flynn decides to holster back up. Shot is from Kerr, and she went down awkwardly. Leg came out from underneath her. Couldn't get it cleanly, and it gets to the stick of Wells. Throws a pass out high to Lindsay. Now Mackenzie Gandy came all the way back down. Picks it up in the 40-yard line. Now throws it out to the other 40 where Kerr is. RMU doesn't have numbers right now. They're catching up on the rush, though. Flynn running past the goal line, and she's interfered with. Almost a duplicate possession here for RMU, as we saw last time as they took a trip down to the offensive end. Flynn working behind the circle, behind the goaltender. Gandy's walking around the perimeter of the 8. Here's a chance, bounce shot, and that goes in. Tough angle, but Tift was able to find it on the bounce shot, and it's 10-4 Colonials. They're out in front by 6. Saturday's no good. I got a show. Tift's got one too. And the Colonials in command here with 32 seconds left to go in the half. Tiff trying to pick up her stick after dropping it. And for Tiff, that's her 4th goal this season. Right now for Youngstown, they're just trying to get out of this last 30 seconds with the game as close as humanly possible here. Got to credit the RMU defense. Last 2 offensive possessions for Youngstown were extended, but they didn't give up any goals. Bend but don't break, if you will, from the Colonials defense. Ball popped in the air. Speared for. RMU, one more chance to score again on offense here with 26 on the clock. And a little shove from behind. Anderson tried to get away, and it's going to be a yellow card on the slash. So Ottensmeyer, their best player, is going to have to sit down for a bit. Now 21 seconds left and a man up. The Colonials looking to do more damage. RMU averaging 12.1 goals per game. Youngstown gives up an average of 9. They've given up 10 already. Pass up high to the center point. Now far side perimeter. We'll see what RMU can do with it. It's tiffed again. Stutter step. Now gives it to Gandy. And she, almost had a clean shot. This could be it in the free position, though. Let's see if she can set the record on this one. Get ready to grab the ball out of the back of the net. Gandy pulls it down, makes a move, and gets the ball to get by the goaltender, and that will be it. The record center for Mackenzie Gandy, as she is now the all-time career goal-scoring leader at Robert Morris University, passing Jen Collins on the free position opportunity and make it 11-4, RMU up by 7. They kept her down for a while, but as this half rolled through, Gandy able to break through for a couple. And now RMU in great position, up by 7, and the record set by Gandy. Now up to 207 career points, the graduate student from Baltimore. And you hear the announcement at Joe Walton Stadium, everybody clapping with their approval. And Mackenzie Gandy with a little wave to the crowd, a little wave to the bench. And she did in fine fashion. So what a way to end the half. Gandy, as the all-time goal-scoring leader in Robert Morris history, sets the mark with 2 seconds left to go in the first, and an 11-4 lead for Robert Morris, getting a high five from Coach Silva, the rest of the coaching staff, everybody on the bench coming over, giving her a pat on the shoulder, and congratulations all around to her and to her sister, Melanie Gandy, who's had a great career as well and has assisted on a number of those goals. She picks up the record ball, and that will go into the locker and eventually on the shelf somewhere. Congratulations again to Mackenzie Gandy. Great way to end the first. We'll be back after halftime here at Joe Walton Stadium. And you can see Mackenzie Gandy, number 36, after her record-setting goal, number 130 of her career, to become the all-time leading goal scorer. Already had the points lead all-time. Another look at how it happened in the free position. Moves in, makes the extra move to beat the goaltender to the left side in front of the post, just snuck it in, and that's how the mark was made. And not overly celebratory here in an 11-4 game from Gandy, handling it with class. A little wave to the fans of the bench after it was acknowledged at Joe Walton Stadium. Good for her. Congratulations to her. Congratulations to her sister for being part of so many goals that were scored by Mackenzie. Melanie, so far, 1 assist today. We can recap the scoring for you as well as we take a look at how the goals were tallied up for RMU. They're high so far in the season, 12 against Kent State in a half. Tift 1, Kerr with a pair, Miller with 1, Kelly had 2, then Gandy had a pair, and Anthony with a hat trick in the first half. The freshman from Christian Brothers Academy in Syracuse, and that's how you get the 11 for Robert Morris, and the 4 for Youngstown were pretty easy to tally up, as Ottensmeyer had 3 of them, and then Fike on a free position gave the Penguins their 4th. Mentioned the upstate New York connection here for Youngstown with Nottingham graduate Teresa Walton in charge of the program, and Katrina Silva, coached for a while at Colgate. And unfortunate news recently from the world of lacrosse. Rob Kavovit, one of the all-time greats at Syracuse University, was a member of the 1995 championship team, an All-American, top 10 all-time in scoring at Syracuse, passing away at the all-too young age of 45 years old, a guy I covered when I was a student reporter up at Syracuse. And mentioned earlier, it's been about 25 years since I've done one of these lacrosse games. I think one that Rob had 6 points in was the last game that I did, and he was a great player to watch. Clutch in that title run. So nifty behind the cage. Great assist man, could score when you needed as well. And sad passing in the state of Florida occurred about 3 weeks ago now. No cause of death released, but it's been great to see the lacrosse community rally around his family. He's got kids down in Florida that play the game too. So sad note for everybody associated with the world of lacrosse, specifically Syracuse University. But was a great player indeed. It was actually sort of a conversation point and fun to reminisce with Coach Walton about some of the great players that came through that school in that era and how she grew up watching the game of lacrosse and how many games she went to at the Carrier Dome. And it's in everybody's blood up there. Certainly is amongst those in Maryland as well, as we talked about how dominated these two rosters are with talent from the state of Maryland. Should point out that the backup goaltender for Youngstown is Michaela Storanko, and she is a local product from Seton LaSalle. And they think she's got some potential. In fact, she came to a prospect day, and that's how she got linked up to the Youngstown program as it blossomed. Easy drive from her hometown. And they think she's got some upside. One thing that Coach Walton talked about was how great Alicia Wells has been with these Youngstown State Penguins in terms of communicating from the goalie position. She called it the toughest position to play, the most cerebral position to play. That was her evaluation. She said Wells has handled it with aplomb given the circumstances. Turning shot and a score as the Colonials pick right up where they left off before halftime. Anderson with the goal, the sophomore from Savage, Minnesota, and that was savage as the Colonials now up 12-4. Wells over on the far post, couldn't get back over in time, and Anderson takes advantage. Julia Cottervoss is going to be credited for an assist. That's her first assist. Another sophomore from Hagerstown, Maryland. As the Colonials look to improve to 8-2 on the season. Running clock doesn't kick in until there's a 10-goal margin, by the way. And I think you're going to get a real big smile here from Coach Silva about how the goals have been distributed, disseminated throughout the team. Draws popped in the air and picked up by Youngstown. Emma Carter, all 5'4" of her, getting underneath the elbows of one of the Colonial players, and it draws a stoppage. Looking at some of the numbers from the first half, when we get a second, we'll do so. As there's a loose ball picked up by RMU. One of the many turnovers they've caused, 9 so far on the game, just 3 for Youngstown. Saves, 6 so far for Wells in the cage for Youngstown State, and Caitlin Miller has 4 for the Colonials. 26 shot attempts before that goal was scored, so 27 now for the Colonials, just 12 for the Penguins. And RMU's plus 10 on the ground balls, too, 24-14. That one is shot wide on the bounce attempt from Ottensmeyer, who continues to try to put her impression on this game with 3 on the board already. I'd say between her goal scoring and Lindsay's ball handling that we've seen, two players that have stood out the most thus far for Youngstown. And that ball is clipped away. Good defensive play by Yesko to jar the ball free and get it right back for the Penguins. On a clean stick check. Now Miller, who's been kind of quiet, marked well by these RMU defenders and midfielders. They knew who to look out for. We talked about that at the outset for the Gandys as well, in the sense that didn't see a lot of goal scoring from them initially, but eventually Mackenzie got going and got her pair to set the goal scoring mark as it's turned back over to Robert Morris. But there's no doubt about it, a ton of attention was being paid to those two, to the Twins, and you can expect that just about any time they take the field, and we saw that conversely for the RMU defense as well, looking out for Miller. Biggest player on the field, as she often is. Good basketball player at Canton. And she has not gotten a lot of clean looks, as the Colonials have been all over her. Mentioned the free position shots. Youngstown State has 9 of them, if I'm remembering correctly, leading to 3 of their goals. Now the Colonials content to work some clock here. They dump it down low, almost able to poke it back into the net for a 13th goal, but to no avail, as it looked like Anderson was setting up shop again. Uncontested pass to start up the offense, and the assault coming from Youngstown. Stick check from behind. They're going to say that isn't clean. Picked right back up again, and Fike, the other goal scorer thus far for the Penguins, will pass it over to Lindsay. Loose ball battled for at the 30. They'll stop and reset. Lindsay a little trouble picking up the ball, but now they're ready to go. As the Penguins make a move towards the top of the fan. And it's knocked free. They really started to close in on Ottensmeyer now. Ottensmeyer's thinking shot. There's only 25 minutes left to go, and the Penguins have to make a move in a hurry. Now it's Tift. Had it, lost it. Right, the NEC logo, which is still there for the football team. Up in the air it goes, batted down, picked up and controlled by RMU. They got some numbers here if they want to make something of it, but Tiff slows it down, has it in the cradle. Runs through the fan, now gives it to the X behind the goal. It's Anderson in control. She'll curl, shot. It's saved by the goalie. Threw it right into the goalie cross there, as well as spins the stick. Puts a little mustard on it. Pass too far out there for Lindsay, though. Coming out the 42-yard line where it's picked up by Robert Morris. Back the other way the Colonials go. Lauren Wassel, the freshman from Lancaster, PA. First time we mentioned her name. As Katrina Silva able to get some different players in. Man-up situation continuing now for RMU. As Chang stays in the box. And now she's freed. Pass, shot, score. Colonials able to get another one on the board. This is a goal for Alex Eckert, the junior from Vicksburg, Maryland. Colonials continue to pour it on here. Let your love shine in as Eckert is able to ring it up to make it 13. It's the first goal of the year for Eckert. And this is her 4th game. It's her 2nd point. Had an assist to her credit before that one. So Alex Eckert gets her first after the 130th to close out the first half from the new goal-scoring champion, Mackenzie Gandy. And once again, the distribution of points has to be something that Coach Silva is happy with here. Giving some instructions to Cleo Kerr as we get ready for the draw at midfield. And got a violation on the on the draw, so it'll stay with the Penguins, who had it in possession anyway, as Ottensmeyer scoops it up, and we're ready for play to resume. Ottensmeyer takes a few steps back, and that pass intercepted, cut off. Good read by the Colonials on the far side. Making a move towards the goal, now running out of space. Bumped a little bit is Katervas, and Katervas will draw the violation. Great read defensively from Katervas. I mean, she looked like a two-deep corner who was reading coverage, came in, made the interception. We'll take another look at the violation as Katervas has a chance in a free position, dead red. Actually, take that back. They're going to move her over a little bit towards one of the hashes, but still has a good, clean look in the goaltender, Alicia Wells. Colonials trying to make it a 10-goal margin here. Trying to get some of the players in the end zone to back off. Some of the players in the outer portions of the fan a little too close. Well set. Katervas cradles and gets ready to go on the free position. With 24:05 left, she'll take the shot. Oh, goes off the post and comes back out. Wells didn't know where it was. Now she's got it. She's able to pass out cleanly. She's done that fairly well so far today. You saw the speed from Aaron Clark. Some of the intangible work that doesn't show up on the score sheet that we heard about from Teresa Walton. That pass is tipped away before the Penguins can make anything of it. Turning shot bouncing, and it's easily played by the goaltender Miller, but one of the Penguins was knocked down to the turf. I think that was Yesko who got the shot off and then got knocked down, so she'll get a free position look. She'll be watched by Kelsey Nelson on the right. And it gets through the goalie, and it's a score for the Penguins. Spiking it down in disgust is Miller. And that draws Youngstown State within 8, 13-5 with 23:23 remaining. Take another look on the replay of Yesko. Went 5-hole, found it, and the Penguins still with a pulse. So the Colonials charge back from a big deficit at halftime against Gardner-Webb earlier this season. And they're down 6-3 at one point, then got going in the second half. I was able to win that game. The only defeats so far have come against the likes of Cincinnati and Notre Dame. And now as I look down at the sideline for RMU, looks like they're getting a little work for Jamie Keller, the backup goaltender. And she might see some time here in the second half, depending on what the Colonials do with their next couple of offensive possessions. Youngstown State knows they have to hurry up when they've got the ball in the offensive zone, which they do right now. Trying to get a pass free, and they do. To Taylor Jones. Been quiet so far. That shot knocked away before Jordan Miller could do much with it. Colonials back it up, and they'll come back and try to clear. Long pass right in front of us from Miller. Hits the target. Here comes RMU as Robarge. I mentioned her name a few times today. She's bumped towards the sideline and ridden out. Now throws it back in, and Colonials will start the offensive push with Mackenzie Bell. Giving it back over to Emily Kim. Return pass to Bell. Looking in front, that shot goes just beyond the pipe. Is good feed to Cleo Kerr, but she couldn't bend with the angle enough to get it on net. Sticky defense provided by the Youngstown State Penguins. Not enough room for her to do much with it, but Kerr got the shot off anyway. Shot clock at 37 as a couple players fall down in the 8, and it rolls to the goaltender, and here comes Youngstown State after the turnover. Pass over top. Penguins clear the 50-yard line, now up to the 30. With a little bit of space, it's Cullen. Lost and able to cut through, and the backup is Robert Morris. Good hustle there. Up by 8 with 21:32 to go, but a little tip of the cap to Madison Burke. Knew she had the angle to get there, and now the Colonials are in possession themselves. Substitutions abound as RMU brings in a few players on the attack. Nelson and Katervas. Also coming into the game right now is Lily Hayden, freshman from Columbus, Ohio. And that shot goes in. Colonials continue to pour it on. 14-5 the score as RMU gets another goal from Anderson. It's her second of the half. You saw the challenge from the goaltender Wells, who came out high to try to intercept the pass, but it got through cleanly to Anderson. Then she just could take her time and dunk it into an empty cage. Little pat on the head there from teammates to Wells. They appreciate the aggressiveness shown by the goaltender, but just couldn't make the clean catch. And a little confusion here on one of the substitutions as Chang came all the way over to the sideline. Now has decided to come back in again. And coming out of the game for Youngstown is Taylor Jones. 21:04 left. 14-5 the score. The Colonials in command. Youngstown's done a good job on draws here in the second half. They just need to make the most of their scoring opportunities, but Robert Morris has, for the most part, stopped that from happening. Just one goal allowed so far here after halftime. And that was from Yesko in a free position. This time it's Carter who's run into that quite a bit so far today. Taking it aggressively into much bigger players and then getting bonked on the head. And the free space violated just about every time she's had the ball, it seems. Now Ottensmeyer, ooh, good move, bounce shot. That goes wide, but that's the first time Ottensmeyer's really gotten free from the Colonial defense here in the second half after scoring 3 in the first. Penguins work it right in front of us. Ottensmeyer in possession. Kind of comes goal line extended now. Adjusts the eyewear. Is able to throw it into the end zone. Equipment just not sitting right for her right now. And it's jarred free and taken away. Second good defensive play in as many possessions by Madison Burke for RMU. Colonials with lots of different players out there right now. Zolis had it for a moment. Now that pass comes over to Kelsey Nelson. Nelson's going to come off the field. Substitute in. It's Miller who comes back on with a goal to her credit so far in this contest. Miller has it, makes a quick move. Now towards the 10-yard line, and there's a free space violation on the move towards the cage. As the Colonials have the third free position of this half. They'll be cautious with it and throw it back. Robarge thinking things over offensively. Now giving it to Hayden. Mentioned she got in from Columbus, Ohio. Colonials content to work some clock here with 31 seconds left. Couple changes behind the play for RMU. Errant pass. Now picked up there by Haddon. 15 seconds left in the clock. You can hear the bench yelling out the marker of time towards the rest of the Colonials on the field. Down to 6 seconds. And it's turned over, and it's going to be a shot clock violation anyway, so they just give it right back to Youngstown. Now the Penguins will trigger out and try to get a little pushback down by 9 with 18:27 left. Colonials not letting them out of their own end, though. Long pass all the way across the field, bounces high off the turf. RMU trying to get it back after some scattered time in their own end. And now, one of the Penguins goes down awkwardly. There'll be some turf burn there. I think that was Fike who was tripped up. Take another look. Fike ridden down to the turf by Cottervoss, who's been all over the field here in the second half. She checks out. As Coach Silva continues to spread the wealth for the minutes in this game. By the way, goalie substitution, we mentioned this might happen. Just looking down now, Miller is out of the game and Keller is in for RMU. Keller with a 41.3 save percentage so far this year. Goals against 27, saves 19. Ottensmeyer, dangerous player, double teamed for the Penguins. They're not letting her get a clean look at the backup goalie. Down to 67 seconds of the shot clock and a score on the inside from Eris Lindsay. It's her second of the year, and she's rewarded after playing a fine field gain up and down in between the eights. She hasn't had an opportunity really until that pass and shot to do much damage offensively, but I've been impressed with what Lindsay has done here, controlling the ball, using her athleticism, and now scoring on the quick fire, and it's 14-6. They've asked a lot of her in terms of carrying the mail today, and she's done so effectively. Kelly coming out now for Robert Morris. Abby Yesko taking a break for the Penguins. She's been jostled to the ground quite a bit. And, you know, going back to some of those penalties that were disputed in the first half and some of the miscommunication and maybe some guesswork done by the officials. And it was interesting to hear Katrina Silva talk about that potential happening today. Insofar as when you've got a lot of older women in their mid-20s in some cases, 21, 22, 23, such is the case with all these grads and seniors for Robert Morris. Then if you look at the roster, up and down the roster for Youngstown, it's 18 and 19-year-olds. And just physically, you're going to see players knock to the turf quite a bit. And here's a chance for Youngstown. Shot and a save. It's loose and picked up by RMU on the ground ball. Good look, good chance for Carter, but the best save that we've seen from Keller so far, first one we've seen from Keller so far, is her second opportunity is stopped as she answers the bell. Carter can't find love in Locust Street to see it. She had a shot. Now a score the other way for the Colonials. RMU makes it 16-5 as we get another glance as Kerr keeps the cross high, then fires up into the corner, and the Colonials make it a 9-goal margin yet again. 18th goal of the year. And for Kerr today, that's also her third goal, so give her a hat trick as well. Along with Anthony, who we haven't seen much of, as we did in the first half of this game. She scored, I believe it was 3 consecutive for the Colonials to help stretch out this game, which was 2-1, kind of close for the first few minutes of the game, and felt like it might be one of those days where the Colonials get more opportunities than goals, but that tide shifted quickly in part because of Anthony's run, and I think that was the turning point for as much as will be talked about, and deservedly so, for Gandy setting the record, and final score might be much more in favor of Robert Morris than it felt early. I thought that run between about 3-1 to about 6-7-2, where Anthony had a great deal of impact on the game. Those were some big moments, and or it felt like somebody, maybe it wasn't as much on the scouting report for Youngstown State did as much damage as she did. It felt like from that point the tide really turned in favor of the Colonials. Ottensmeyer did what she could to keep the game close as she passes the ball right now over to Miller and gets a return. It was sort of a one-woman show there for a bit for Youngstown State, and the dissemination of talent, the distribution of talent is much greater for the Colonials at this point, and also experience. Based on what Coach Walton told us about what she's seeing from these freshmen, she likes where they are and seemed pretty happy with the recruiting class. There was a club team at Youngstown that didn't have to go that route to fill out the roster. They had 2 years to recruit, what with the COVID situation and all, so essentially they got the world's biggest freshman class here after recruiting over 19 and 20 to get to 2021 to launch the program. Stop, start, curl move. As Aaron Clark shakes and bakes, tries to get a shot off, and it's deflected. Also got a piece of the pipe. And Clark thought she scored, but got pipe after I think it got a piece of the goaltender Keller. And the Colonials still up by 9. Now Keller looking to pass to somebody. Doesn't have anybody open, or can't find anybody open. She ekes out from the crease. And just beyond the 8, her pass is almost intercepted. Reaching for it was Burke, who's been solid in her own end here in the second. Free space violation. A little push, and Colonials will get the ball set up on the 35. And the stick of Julia Davies, mentioned on a few occasions today, the freshman from North Brunswick, New Jersey. Splits her time between midi and attack. And ball rolls away, turnover goes to the Penguins with 14:52 remaining from Joe Walton Stadium. Now the goalie harassed, way deep into the end zone. Pop fly, and it bounces on the turf. That gives Wells a chance to get back into the crease. And now the Penguins have to set shot back up defensively. Army working in the end zone. Out in the flank, it's caught and held onto by Bailey Christensen. Saw more of her in the first half, gets a touch here in the second half. Colonials lead by 9. 68 on the shot clock. Cradle action from the Colonials as they'll work clock down to a minute. It's Miller looking for an angle. Passing into the X position. Here's a shot on goal and a save. Ooh, almost snuck through. Good shot on goal from Mackenzie Bell, but Wells is true up against the post and makes that stop. Another long pass out to about the 25-yard line. A host of Robert Morris players cut off that move. Ground ball picked up by Robarge. Now it's knocked away. Batted around, rolling around at the 30. Eventually scooped up by RMU, and that's Julia Katervas again. Katervas charging in, and it's going to be a free space violation on the Penguins. Katervas with their second free position chance here in the second half. Makes the run of the cage. Shot, score. Katervas. 10-goal margin for RMU. 16-6 with 13:19 left to go. Stop kicking my heart around. Julia Katervas able to bury it. And the Colonials having a good time here at Joe Walton on Saturday afternoon. Take another look. Katervas, the sophomore from Hagerstown, Maryland. Her 7th on the season. She's had a strong second half. Didn't talk about her very much in the first, but as the minutes have been spread out here from Katrina Silva, she's been one that's taken advantage for sure. Running clock now with the 10-goal margin on the board. Teresa Walton called her troops over when given the opportunity and now sends the attack back on the field. Vaudry out there along with Taylor Jones. And it looks like Lauren Ottensmeyer has come over to the sideline and given some medical attention, it appears. Something wrong with her right hand. Maybe took a whack on that hand. As she's getting treated, pouring ice water on it right now and getting a wrap. And the offense has definitely gone through her, as has normally been the case this year for Youngstown State. Erin Clark splits two defenders. Keeps the play going. At the 10, Emma Carter getting around Burke, who's done some good things here and does again in her own end. Now Kerr with the pass out, caught up high, easily fielded by Kelsey Nelson. Now Flynn with the cradle. And that one goes in. Make it 17-6. The Colonials continue their fine work in the second half as Flynn gave it off and the shot was buried by Zolis, the graduate student midfielder from Oakville, Ontario. And for Zolis, it's her first goal of the season. As Thalia Zolis continues to stretch things out for RMU. Colonials have not played a ton of close games. They had that one that we mentioned against Gardner-Webb, which was a nail-biter. But they've largely had goal differential in their favor, had some struggles. It's Notre Dame and Cincy 16-2 and 16-7. But the goals being poured in now in the second half, and some people able to stuff the stat sheet that otherwise don't get the opportunity in closer contests. RMU in the offensive end again. This is Nelson. She'll work it around the 8. Passing behind the net. Now trying to curl the crease, and one of the Colonials gets thumped on the head. I think that was Flynn, who's gotten some more time here as the second half has gone along. Saw a great bit of her in the first half of play. Tift, who's gotten the score sheet too, bends it to the outside. Now working out from the X. Here comes RMU. Passing it behind the goalie circle, the crease again. Colonials work from low to high. Carrying that pass goes awry. A little too hot from Bailey Christensen, and that'll cause the turnover. Mentioned RMU so far this season. 9-8 against Liberty, 18-13 against Fresno State. Kent State they beat 18-3. Had that game against Gardner-Webb, which they won 12-9 after being down 6-3 at one point in the first half of that one. And a loss 16-2 against Notre Dame, a victory against Butler 16-10 on the road against the Bulldogs. That 16-7 loss to Cincinnati, and 15-4 was the tally against Akron when the Colonials won, and they beat Central Michigan last week in a quality road victory 12-7. And we'll get a timeout and step aside. 8:35 left to go in the second half. Colonials in command, up by 11 on the Colonial Sports Network. Lots of good individual numbers all over the stat sheet for Robert Morris. 2 hat tricks, Kerr and Anthony. Also Kelly and Gandy had a couple of goals apiece. Anderson with 2 goals. She's got 9 draw controls as well. And McCardle caused 6 turnovers thus far to lead the way for the Colonials in that department. Shots on goal go back to Kerr again. She's tried 7 and gotten 5 on goal, 3 by the goaltender. Gandy, Mackenzie Gandy, not only set the goals record earlier, but also 5 shots and picked up 4 ground balls too. Leading the way in that category is Burke. We've talked about some of her fine work in the defensive end in this second half, and illustrated by that stat there. So I think Katrina Silver's going to have to be happy with a lot of those numbers. Looking at some of the team stats thus far, Colonials with 36 shots to 20 for Youngstown State, 17 goals to 6 right now on the scoreboard, 8 of those via assist for Robert Morris. Out in front of ground balls too, 37 to 18. I mentioned that Youngstown State was hanging in the draw controls. That's reflective on the stat sheet too. They're +1 in that category, 13 to 12, but way too many turnovers, 28 thus far for the Penguins and 17 for the Colonials, and 13 of those turnovers for Youngstown State weren't directly caused by Robert Morris, and can't do that when you're trying to play catch up as much as the Penguins have had to do. And you see the clock down to 8:28. It is running time here, by the way, still, with the Colonials up by 11. Offensive zone time right now for the Penguins, though. They try to make a little bit more of an offensive imprint on this game. Pulling it back is Fike, one of the goal scorers today for the Penguins. On the perimeter, Taylor Jones. Now going through the Colonials in the end zone, the football end zone. Pass out the far side goal line extended, comes out center point area to Aaron Clark. Feeding the middle, shot, save. Good body position there from Keller, the goaltender, who came in midway through the second. And that's her 3rd save thus far since entering the game. Clark again. Trying to get around Tift. Gives up on the rush. Now give him to Clark again. Pushes off with the left foot. Feeding in front. Oh, nice work by the goalie Keller to disrupt that pass. They're looking for an alley-oop dunk, but Keller wouldn't let it happen. Clark dominating the ball, now passing off to Lindsay. She spins about, pass goes over her head, and Jones has it. 41 on the shot clock. Lindsay tries to scoop it up, bounces off the back of the neck of one of the Colonials. And RMU gets the benefit of the call. And now the officials will converse. Burke was pointing to her head. I think she felt like she got hit in the head and maybe should be a card. Now the officials discussing. At this point, probably just let it play on, you would think. And that's what they're going to do. By the way, misspoke before. That wasn't Tift on defense. Zolis was the one on D. I should have mentioned we're an 18, not 10. She's got a goal on the day. Now Silva talking to the officials. The clock continues to churn under the 6-minute mark. Colonials looking to pad the lead here, but that pass gets away from Elizabeth Engel, who was on the far side. Harassing defense from the Colonials as the action works its way up the far sideline. Got a little too close, and now the ball is stopped as RMU will have a chance to set up on defense. One player coming off the field is Emily Kim. Looking in front. Oh, and it bounces by the goaltender, Keller, who was spun around. Accidental goal there, if you will. I believe it's going to go to Aaron Clark unless it hit a body on the way in. Let's take another look at how this one happened. Oh, it took a funky bounce. I wonder if that hit the top of the shoe, perhaps, of Davies. That one took a weird hop. Davies incredulous, as is Colgrove. I don't know if we can take another look at that one. That was a weird angle, and the ball spun funny. I think it came off one of Robert Morris's own defenders. Let's take another look at this one, maybe slow it down to see how that one got by Keller. She was obviously surprised at how it came in. Another look at it from Clark. I think she was trying to make a pass, and it bounced off one of the Penguins and then continued to spin off the turf. Can't see who that was making the cut, but I think it hit one of the Penguins going in front of Keller, and then on the spin action almost screwballed past Keller, who came out to challenge. And that's the kind of break you need in a game that's, well, not 10 goals. Now, false draw, they'll do it again at the center stripe. Lindsay eyeing up Tift as those two jockey for position. Ground ball scooped up by Kerr, who's had a fine game. Now she's looking for a fourth. Kerr to the left-hand shot. Oh, I think the goaltender got a piece of it. It goes over the crossbar. Good charge in by Kerr. She's been all over this game in a number of different facets, providing offense, good work in the midfield as well, in the draw game too. Now from the feeder position, comes out, goes to the top of the fan. Bell tries to find an alley, doesn't have one. Colonial still in possession with 3 minutes left. Curling the crease, now pulling back. Army will set up shop up high. Gets away from Bell, but doesn't reach the restraining area. Carter was right there to pounce on it if it did. Tiff shoved away, deflected pass, picked up by RMU on the far side, Christensen. Pass comes to the 20. This is Bell. She makes a run, and it's going to be a free space violation, and I believe a free position chance for RMU. Bell on the outer fan with 2:27 on a ticking clock. Pass comes to Tiff, thought about a big shot, now goes to the left, and it's caught out of the air by the goaltender Wells. Pass completed to Lindsay. This is what we're talking about with her. She was doing a lot of the ball carrying duties. She's decked and knocked down, but sort of exactly what we were talking about with Coach Silva before the game started. And we'll take another look at this hit, and the clock is going to stop here to see if Lindsay's okay. As the cross went out, as Lindsay is knocked down, sportsmanship there as one of the Colonials came up and gave her a fist pound to see if she was all right. And looks like we're ready to start action again. And you want to make sure the clock is ready to go, and it is. So Lindsay makes the pass to Clark. Giving it right back to Lindsay. Kerr catches up to her. And they're going to say a high stick check there on Lindsay. And I think she's still in a little bit of physical distress after getting knocked out before. And one of the officials says if you want to go out, then go out. But if you're not going to go out, you got to be ready for play. Here's Jones passing across the crease, and it's momentarily in the cross the goaltender Keller, and that was just enough to bust up the timing of the play. Down to 1:15 left. Colonials maybe with one more rush here, looking for one more goal. A little bit more time on the shot clock than the game clock, actually, as one of the Colonials is knocked down to the turf. Making a move again. I thought that was Zolis, I believe, making a move towards the cage. Get another glance. Zolis caught it high. It was her, and the stick got out in front of her. Now Zolis is going to leave the game. Haddon comes back in with 1:02 remaining. Zolis, free position. Lindsay on her right side. Could be all Zolas here. She runs in, the shot is stopped. But Zolas gets it right back. Now passes out. Just hadn't thought about it. Instead, worked back outside the 8. And there's another violation. Caroline Downham coming into the game, the senior from Texas. 30 seconds. Bounce shot goes over the crossbar. Regathered by RMU. Pass comes out high. Refs letting that contact go down to 22 seconds. Pass underneath, shot. That one goes wide. I think I got a piece of the goaltender stick, maybe the post too, and now a counter back for the Penguins. They look for one more on the board before time expires. Gonna have to hurry though. Down to 8 seconds left. Youngstown State would like to get one more. Down to 3 seconds. We'll see if they get a shot off. And it's knocked away before it gets on goal, and that'll do it. Leave the lights on at the ground round. The Colonials are victorious 17-7, the final score, as RMU wins against Youngstown State, and they improve their record to 8-2 overall. The Penguins fall to 1-4 in their first season. Again, congratulations to Mackenzie Gandy, now up to 130 goals, the all-time record at Robert Morris, after she set the mark just before halftime of this game, and then the Colonials put it in cruise control from there. Thanks to everybody who took part in our broadcast today, particularly those in the truck getting things set up here. For everybody celebrating tomorrow, have a happy Easter. We'll talk to you again soon. Garrow back in the call for the next home game as the Colonials get ready to churn through the rest of the MAC schedule right here on the Colonial Sports Network. 17-7 the final. Colonials win over Youngstown State by 10.